Welcome to Politics NY with Sky. This is the Schneps Media Cannabis Power 100 list. I am with Craig Johnson from Long Point Advisors. He's a former state senator, so he's the Honorable Craig Johnson, and he's making roads in the cannabis community. So welcome to the show, Craig. We'd love to hear about what it is that you're working on, both from your perspective, having been a senator and now working on it on the outside.
Hey, Sky, how are you? Look, I'm very busy. It's incredible. It seems every week I have one or two inquiries as to, my availability to assist various clients on the lobbying front, business development front, real estate front when it comes to a variety of cannabis clients, whether they are cultivators, processors, delivery, people with an idea of delivery, adult use dispensary, on-site consumption. I mean, it's interesting and a lot of variety, but there's a lot of work to be done. A number of folks have reached out because we don't have rules or regulations, not even draft rules or regulations yet. So there's a lot of unknowns that if you're a company looking to try and tap into the market here in New York State, you don't know what's going on. And, somebody like myself, I think is in really good position to help those clients, whether it is outreach into the Office of Cannabis Management and the Cannabis Control Board to talk about what should be in the rules or what shouldn't be in the rules, to speaking to local community leaders about a possibility of a dispensary coming into a location, versus speaking to county officials when talking about IDA opportunities and business opportunities, real estate opportunities. So there's a lot of work to be done. And certainly, from our company at Long Point Advisors, we are, doing a lot of work helping these companies try to break into New York State and get ready for the licensing application process, which I expect will be, if I want to be generous, end of the year, but if I want to be realistic, Q1 of 2023.
Wow. Okay. So we still have another year to get everything situated.
I think we have a year to go before we see the adult dispensaries in place. I think you're going to see draft rules and regulations in the very near term, and that will kick off a process. When you have a draft rule and regulation, you have a public comment period. After those public comments, it's usually 60 days. The Office of Cannabis Management and the CCB, the Cannabis Control Board, will look at the public comments. They will probably revise the rules and then reissue the rules for another round of comments. That's what's happened with the hemp rules. It took about a year to get the hemp rules in place. It may be faster for cannabis. It may not be. So I think people need to be patient. And I know there are a lot of people who don't want to be patient, but we have to get it right. I think it's important to get it right. As a former elected official, I know that, folks in government want to make sure things are done right. So we don't have problems like you've seen in other states. But say over the next year, we'll have a draft rules and regulation process, which will give a lot of information to a lot of people about what needs to be done. So they're ready that once the licensing application process starts, people will be ready to put their applications in quickly. And then hopefully the OCM will not take up too much time in approving the applications. I'm sorry, the CCB improving the applications and getting people up and running in businesses all throughout the state.
Now, as this happens, there will be communities that push back and don't want dispensaries in their neighborhoods. Yeah.
So as last week, we're already at last week, December 31st was the last day for municipalities to exercise their opt-out option, where if a municipality did not want to have an adult use dispensary or an on-site consumption, so a cannabis bar, so to speak, or a marijuana store in their locale, the town, the village, or the city had to exercise what's called an opt-out. They had to vote to opt out. They do give an opportunity for communities to participate in a referendum to allow the voters to vote to overturn that rule and regulation. But the first step had to happen where the municipality opted out by December 31st. And what's interesting is, I think we're still looking to see the final numbers come in, but hundreds of municipalities all across the state opted out. And in fact, in Nassau County, I don't believe there is a single town, city, or village that I'll say opted in or did not opt out of the adult use dispensaries or the cannabis, not the on-site cannabis bars. So in fact, in Nassau County, you will not be able to go into a dispensary or a consumption location as of today if they were in place. Now, a number of towns and a number of villages articulated that the reason why they were opting out is because they don't have rules and regulations in place. They don't know what they're getting.
Right.
I think that was a little bit of a cop out personally, because the way MRTA, the marijuana law, is structured, it still gives the towns and the cities and the villages the ability to zone these locations. So they could have just as easily said, you know, we're gonna keep dispensaries in, but we're gonna put them in, you know, we're gonna zone them in certain business districts and not on Main Street. You had that in a number of Suffolk locations. Brookhaven and Babylon, for example, and Southampton all said, you know what, we're gonna allow dispensaries, but we're gonna control the time, place, and manner of where they're going to be. Nassau jurisdictions could have done that as well. They chose not to. So one thought is that while they've all opted out, you're still allowed to opt back in. And I think what could happen is, if you see draft rules and regulations, maybe you have an opportunity to go to a village or go to a town and say, look, everyone else has opted out. You opt back in, you're going to have an opportunity to get some real significant tax revenues for your locality. And maybe you want to think about, now that you see the draft rules and regulations and they're not that bad, and you have the zoning and the time, place, and manner restriction power, maybe you should opt in at this point. You know, take a chance. And who knows, maybe that will happen. It may require a savvy lobbyist to go in and, on behalf of somebody, make that case. Could be me, could be some of your other guests who've probably come on who are just as important in this industry as I am. But I think that you may see that. But at the end of the day, look, you've got some places in Suffolk County that are going to allow it. The city's going to allow dispensaries. A number of locations upstate are. So look, you're going to have a market. It's probably going to be very robust, and it'll be interesting to see, you know, what it does, you know, for the New York economy.
All right. The Honorable Craig Johnson, former state senator, now at Long Point Advisors. Thank you. And congratulations on being honored as one of our Schneps Media's cannabis top list.